Welcome to Get Moving TV. I'm Dr. Chris Landon, I serve as your host. I'm the Chief of Pediatrics at Ventura County Medical Center, and it has been my pleasure to be here for over 20 years. Ventura County is a remarkable place in terms of how advanced it is in medical care and in medical thinking as well. We're going to hear from two guests today. I'm very proud of both of them. One of them is Dr. Lepore, who's graduated from our residency and come back. It's hard to see your children grow up, but there they are. And then Dr. Hornstein is going to come back and really catch us up on a movement to really let people die a more natural death than some of the ones that we see in intensive care units. Dr. Lepore, tell us a little bit about how you came to Ventura Family Practice Residency to begin with and what your experiences were there and what brought you back.
So I started at Ventura in 1999 as an intern, went to Boston University for medical school, and when applying to residency was looking around the country for the best places that would train me well. And what I was looking for was a place that would give me training in not only how to do C-sections, but how to take care of patients that were very sick, and with the ultimate goal of traveling internationally. A good portion of my co-residents were also interested in traveling internationally, and it's something that was the reason that I went to medical school.
Well, you know, we all have, when did you want to first become a doctor? And age 5, you dissected a robin or whatever. How did you get interested in international medicine, and where did you go with it?
It's actually first, I was not born wanting to be a doctor. I have no doctors in my family. And the interest came out of being aware of poverty in the world and seeing that it was much worse in other places other than the United States, but became very interested in homelessness when I was in high school. And the thought of becoming a physician and going through medical school really came about pretty late, so the middle of high school. And I ended up applying to medical school out of high school. There are some accelerated programs which got me through undergrad and high school and medical school in 7 years total. From there, after graduating and coming here and seeing many of my co-residents interested in international work, it was something that I always wanted to do, and had an opportunity to do so in 2005.
We've had, I think, Dr. Starr on the show. We go down and do cleft lip and palate repairs, and we do it for 5 days. And what we've really tried to do with our program is teach people how to fish instead of just giving them fish. So we're bringing the local surgeons in and bringing in programs like Smile Train and the like. Where did you go for your 2 weeks of experience where you kind of drop in and you feel kind of odd when you leave that you're leaving that behind? So tell me about your experience.
The place that I ended up going is a place called Santiago Atitlan. It's in Guatemala on Lake Atitlan. It's a town of about 40,000 native Mayan Indians. There are only 70,000 people in the world who speak their language, called Sutuhil. The town had a hospital up until 1991, and the hospital at that point was closed down because of a massacre in the town from the military. So the military was kicked out, and the hospital people left with them. It's a very grassroots organization called Pueblo a Pueblo in the United States, and then down there's a group that started to talk about trying to bring the hospital back. The closest other medical care was about 90 minutes away by very windy road or across a big lake, so it was not very accessible to the folks there. And so the townspeople wanted to bring back a hospital, and in April of 2005 they started this hospital again.
And who's they?
So they turned out to be one of my classmates in residency, also at Ventura, who also had very similar interest in international work. Her name is Leah Abraham, and she served as the chief of staff at the Hospitalito for the first 2.5 years of its existence. My role at that point, because I was obligated to stay in the United States with the National Health Service Corps in Boston, was to spell another doctor for about 2 weeks. And that was my first experience. That was in September through to October of 2005.
Anything happened during those 2 weeks?
My last night of call, I was to be headed to the United States the following day. There was torrential downpours in that area with Hurricane Stan. And at about 4 o'clock in the morning, I was awoken to somebody knocking on my door. And I believe I also woke up when I felt something shake, and I figured it was a truck driving by, but it certainly wasn't a truck. It was actually a very large mudslide that ended up killing somewhere around 500 people in that immediate town and broke down the door of the Hospitalito. We actually have 2 photos that I took the next day before my camera battery died, which we can show right now. There was about 8 feet of mud that came crashing through the front door, and luckily nobody in the hospital was killed. My first, second, and third thought was that I was probably going to die, and I was going to figure out how I could prevent that from happening. About 3 hours in, we realized that there were critically sick people in the building next door who had gone there from the town. Probably somewhere between 150 and 300 people had accumulated at this municipal center right next door, 4 of whom were critically sick. The best part about my training at Ventura is that it trained me exactly for something like that. Despite having not put in a chest tube in 3 years, what we needed to do for this one particular gentleman who had his lung popped by getting crushed was to put a tube through his chest wall to help him breathe. And we were able to do that. Another woman critically sick had lost a lot of blood, and the IV fluids we gave her saved her life. And some other, her son was actually also very injured with his lip being ripped off of his face almost, and we had to sew him back together as well. And again, without Ventura County Medical Center, I do not think I would have had the training to do any of those things. So I was very thankful to have come here at that time.
People really don't understand the depth of training that family practice residents get. Right now you're working as a hospitalist?
So a hospitalist is a doctor who takes care of patients who get admitted to the hospital. As physicians are less and less having a practice outside the hospital and in the hospital. The best part about my job is that I get to teach family practice residents and very interested, very good family practice residents at the Ventura County Medical Center. Get to teach them in procedures, get to teach them in critical care, and other aspects of care that they will need to travel internationally. And there is still a good amount of interest in the residents. Even in Guatemala, we've been able to convince at least a few to head down to Guatemala as well. And there are currently 2 classmates of mine who are down there for 2 weeks right now, also taking care of things.
It's an extraordinary set of residents. They come, well, where do they come from?
My particular class, which graduated in 2002, was from Tennessee, Oregon, New Mexico, New York, New Jersey, all over the country, Washington State. So definitely folks come from all schools, from all medical schools, from all places, searching out the training that we have here.
Yeah, and all attracted to little Ventura County. That's the
Yes.
most remarkable part.